like the great and powerful Oz.
Well, and there's a book called The Marginal Man that goes into that. It says the people in power, the source of their power is being invisible. If you realize that even the richest, most powerful person is just a human being, if you process that, you would never listen to him. But when you see them as part of a broader phenomenon, then you're like, I can't beat that.
Yeah.
And the white progressive idealists and the black intellectual orthodox, that's the greatest damage they did, is they put in the minds of so many young black people, you can't beat it unless you have this constant fear.
Well, and it's the invisible enemy then, isn't it? Which, okay, what's a coronavirus look like?
Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we see a little picture of the virus itself, but we don't know what it looks like. How do you know if that guy has it? He may be asymptomatic. Is it another invisible enemy?
Yeah, and that's why even Republicans, even Trump supporters, are now reacting to it.
But if you go out during the day and pick up your vitamin D, it's like avoiding the vampires because they can't go out in the daytime.
Well, the ones in my book can.
Sure. But there's a reason that they can, you said.
Right. And one of the reasons why I did that is because I looked through several books that, when they say, the vampires sleep, and it doesn't really work if you have a large-scale society and they're all asleep at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of like, because their bound would be the ones that running stuff.
Sure.
To me, the idea that they wouldn't pull something is completely implausible to me. Wait a minute, they're all asleep. We got the keys to their coffin. The idea that they wouldn't, and I kind of do play with something like that later in the book. Uh-huh. So that's one of the reasons why I eliminated that, is because it's kind of like, well, it'd be really hard for. I'm sorry, man. It'd be like, because the bound aren't controlled by. They're not mentally controlled. It's just they can do something like, okay, you're taking this blood. You can bound them to an oath. You cannot tell anyone about us. And that's what really, they're not bound as in slaves. They're bound by the oath. You get the blood, and to get the blood, you're tied to the secret.
Right.
So you physically can't tell anyone that they exist because the blood is in you. It stops you from.
You got the gift. You joined the party. Now you have to keep your mouth shut.
Except for Robert's bound. Robert's bound, and I won't get too into it. Mm-hmm. They know certain things different about them. Mm-hmm. They're like, wait a minute. Why are you able to do that and we can't?
But again, you linking what some would say is total fiction and vampire. That's the same. That's the Jeffrey Epstein thing.
Absolutely,
it's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same.
Which is why I have no problem with saying that cat was murdered. I have no problem.
I tell you what, you and I both speak to a lot of people about a lot of subjects. Do you know of anybody who said no? He was definitely it was definitely suicide. Nobody else, except for the official people.
But a lot of people in down south get angry if you talk about it.
Really?
Yeah. So if you say he got murdered, they'll be like, well, what about Sandra Bland? I'm like, I'm not talking about her. They have this weird kind of thing, like they do exactly what they accuse the white lives matter people of doing. You talk about something and they want to pivot to something else, and it's like, yes, she was murdered too, but I'm not talking about that now. Can I talk about what I want to talk about now?
Well, I will tell you another thing that you're going to encounter in this book, and remember this because I've said it first. You're going to get people that saying, vampires, come on,
right?
Vampires. What? Wait a minute. You mean they don't have to sleep in a coffin?
No.
With dirt from their homeland in there? Well, you don't know what you're talking about. Everybody knows this is the way vampires are.
No,
they're going to say that.
Yes. Oh, you're purists.
So they're going to say this book is obviously baloney because this is how vampires really are.
Right.
Listen to what you're saying, okay?
They do that all the time, though.
Yeah, sure.
Like, that's not vampires. Don't do that. That's impossible.
Well, it was a Will Smith movie. It was a remake of The Omega Man.
Oh, it's called I Am Legend.
Yeah. And first thing I saw that, I said, these zombies shouldn't be moving so fast.
Right.
Of course, there's no such thing as zombies,
Right.
but if there were, they certainly wouldn't be like this.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right. It's like that. Why would they do that?
Yeah, zombies move slow, so you can
It's
kill them.
I like when people go, well, why didn't he just do that? And why didn't he just shoot him? Because the movie would be 15 minutes long, dummy. That drives me nuts. Like, if I were him, I just would have just walked up to him and just blew up his car.
Yeah, okay. Now roll the credits, and you've made no money.
Right. You know, I watched recently The Lincoln Lawyer.
Okay. With
McConaughey.
Anthony McConaughey, yeah.
I really liked that movie.
Yeah.
I never watched it. It wasn't a lot going on, and it wasn't a lot of action, but it was interesting, like the way he handled things. He was like, it wasn't like, I'm gonna like fight the bad guy. He'd be like, I'm just gonna hire some bikers to beat this guy up. It was really kind of, it was just interesting. But I mean, so if you want to get, I mean, Robert's not exactly like the Lincoln Lawyer, but that's kind of, and I didn't realize it. It's sort of that genre, you know, of balancing. Robert would be a lot more like the Lincoln Lawyer as a human.
Okay.
Where he's all about money. He got some people off. Now, Robert's not a criminal lawyer, but still, the Lincoln Lawyer, McConaughey, he gets people off that, he's a criminal. But he's still principled. He makes a lot of money. He's a kind of a rich guy, but he does have, it's not clear cut. Like, he has his beliefs. He believes the justice system should stop the cops from railroading people.
Mm-hmm.
But he likes the money. And it's interesting because they're like, well, that makes you a bad person. It's actually, I think it's before its time. Because there's certain people like, you're a bad person because you defend people you know are guilty and you make a lot of money. And I'm like, why? I mean.
You know who I've found in life who criticizes those who make a lot of money? Those that don't. And I think it's jealousy.
That was kind of, in the movie, that was kind of part of the thing.
Was it?
It was the cop. It was like, you girl, you're bad, evil lawyer money. And he's just kind of like, at one point, he's like, I'm going to kick your ass when you retire. And I was like, I've never heard anyone say that. Like, I'm going to wait till you retire because I can't hit a cop. When you retire next year, I'm kicking your ass. I was just like, yeah.
We're coming up on 2 hours, but I have one vampire question I have to ask. I just have to ask this because, again, there's the traditional vampire and there's the Greyfalcon vampire, which shocking. You're not going to conform to the thing that everyone else always thinks. That's shocking of you. But I've always wondered, vampires they're the undead and they smell bad. How do they get all the girls if they smell that bad? How do the girls get past the smell? Do your vampires smell bad?
No. They're immune to anything that would make them smell bad.
Okay.
Like the process that the biological process that makes them stink.
Uh-huh.
The only way they would stink is if their clothes stink.
Okay.
But they're physically not going to ever have body odor.
Okay, got it. Got it. So you've written your way around that one very good.
Yeah. I mean, that's because Dracula didn't stink.
The Van Helsing vampires stunk.
Yeah, but they were kind of, I won't say they were feral, but they were very primal.
They were.
They were like kind of outdoorish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brutish. They weren't civilization vampires.
I think all people in the Van Helsing era kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there was no deodorant.
Right. But that was during a time where, everyone's outside.
Sure.
And people were dying of, whatever, smallpox, whatever,
Sure.
Because it was like, even the humans, they looked pretty sick to me. I mean, I was just like, so. No, this is modern day. They're got nice clothes and, Now, there are some hippie vampires that use patchouli.
That use what?
Patchouli.
What's that?
It's like this. Have you ever walked by someone with a tie-dye and they had a weird, sweet, kind of funky smell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's patchouli.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a few that are into that, but that's not from them. That's just them crappy taste in perfume.
Do we know when the book's going to come out? Approximate ETA.
Is it July? I'm hoping I have some version of it by some kind of bound whatever copy by like mid-September.
Okay.
I'm talking to different people about ways to do it.
Uh-huh.
Looking at prices and all that, but I would say mid-September I should have some kind of. Again, it's like I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm kind of leaning more towards a photography thing than, but I might end up just hiring a sketch artist. I don't know. But
last question: who plays Robert in the movie? I know you thought about it.
Let's see. He's got to be about 32. Who's about 32? It's kind of hard because there's not a lot of like. I saw someone who's perfect. I'm trying.
Shia LaBeouf.
No, it's got to be more. Oh God, who? Oh, the Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo, the guy. Have you seen any of the Marvel movies?
Some.
Have you seen The Purge?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
Okay. Well, yeah, check that out.
Okay.
Frank Grillo's a little bit older than Robert would be, but in Hollywood you could scale him back.
Sure.
You know, if you took Frank Grillo would be the perfect Robert. He's like the he's the head of the secret police in the Marvel.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be the good guys, but they turn out to be the bad guys.
Okay.
Because Hydra's the Hydra Nazis are secretly controlling the organization that the Avengers work for. They find out, oh, wait, crap. Wait, you guys have been in power the whole time, you know. So Frank Grillo is the actual soldier that's the head of the secret police. So he would be good. He's got the right look for it.
Very good.
I'm
excited about it coming out. It's a vampire book, folks. But again, I'm not even going to say it's a novel. I'm going to say it's... There's
a lot of history in it. There's a lot of philosophy in it. I put myself in it as a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't use my same name, but, so it's a history.
Do you get the girl? You got to read the book to find out?
You got to find out, but he gets in this. He's a supporting character.
Okay.
But it's me because I worked for a lawyer who the image of who he is. When I was 20, I worked for a lawyer for a couple months, and I joked because like he stayed up real late, and I was like, oh, he made one time because I'm a vampire, and that's kind of like where the image of this character is. The image of this guy.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Okay, then he'll get a copy of the book, I'm sure.
His name's not Robert, but I looked him up. I was like, oh yeah, he's still practicing law. So
Very good.
So Frank Grillo.
And what's the working title?
So far, it's called Alpha Omega.
Alpha Omega. Very good. Look for it, folks. The Greyfalcon will be back. We'll talk about this as the date gets sooner. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Take it easy.
That's it. We're done. Thanks for tuning in. JamesStrongShow@hotmail.com. That's the email address. Send your email address to me. I will send you a copy of the links. You can download it and listen to it at your leisure. Or just look on iHeartRadio, iTunes, any of the... I'm on about 75 different sites. You can pick me up anyway. Just Google James Strong Show and pow, it'll pop up. That's it. We're done. Until next time, this is James Strong saying adios.